Good afternoon, everyone. I told Khani I almost believed everything. And I thank you all for being here. I especially want to thank and acknowledge Andres and Sigal and the organizing team. Believe me, I know how hard it can be to keep all of you happy. As someone who attended the first JFN conference in Israel, being here feels like being amongst family, my professional mishpuche. It feels very much like coming home, like a touching of firm, familiar ground after so much has been stripped away. There is no question that the massacre of our people on October 7th stripped reality bare, and in truth, there is still so much that is broken. We remain in a battle for our lives and for our future. Moments from our border, men, women, and children snatched from their homes still languish in Hamas captivity. And we must do everything to bring them home. The wounds are still raw and fresh. The unspeakable violence against women on that day and since still cries for compassion and justice. The recent UN report on the sexual violence on October 7th and since was late in coming, but is no less important. The special session in the UN Security Council just last week brought the issue to the attention of the world where it should stay, and we must continue to speak out on behalf of so many who cannot speak for themselves. There are still so many needs to be met, so many wounded in body and spirit who need rehabilitation, so many traumatized people who need attention, so many families who need care, so many young people who need help finding meaning, entire communities that need healing. And still, we are here to talk about rebuilding, the reverse movement of destruction. Of course, as philanthropists and activists, we are always attempting to build. We are always asking ourselves how we can use our resources to strengthen the world around us, to touch people, to build better societies. Responding immediately to emergency in the wake of October 7th, the answer was simple. Hineni, yes, give, do, show up with whatever you have. Take the quickest possible route to getting your resources to real people. And I want to thank you all for that. Of course, the goodwill and deep investment of world Jewry has been woven into Israel's story from the very beginning, from investment in the very first Moshavot, through youth rescue Aliyah after the Holocaust, to building hospitals, schools, youth villages, universities. The imprint of Jewish philanthropy is embedded into the foundations of the State of Israel. We have been bound at the heart from the very beginning, and we remain bound at the heart in these difficult times too. I'd like us to notice that to be able to gather here to talk about rebuilding already means so much. It means that the initial state of extreme emergency is clearing the path for intentionality and for planning. This makes this moment significant and pivotal. From the state of emergency and immediate needs, we can now lift our heads and look toward a planned future. There are 2 points I'd like to make as we think about defining strategic goals in the changed philanthropic landscape. First, there is a lot to be learned from the incredible mobilization post-October 7th. The fact is that resources were mobilized with remarkable speed, agility, and focus. The needs were rapidly identified and they were rapidly met. And it's worth noting a very significant development that emerged within the turmoil. We saw philanthropy joining hands to create new initiatives, and we saw it link arms with the local Israeli partners like never before to do what needed to be done for this country. And in fact, Israeli philanthropic giving is on the rise. At this point, approximately a quarter of the JFN members are Israeli, and this means a lot. I believe across the board collaboration, both with Israeli partners and amongst all philanthropists, can and should guide our way forward. The boldness and creativity that were evident in unusual times will need to meet a willingness to work together as one attuned organ during the days ahead. This may mean putting aside for a time the type of personalized giving that can feel so satisfying, so that we can jointly zone in on the broader strategic needs of Israeli society and respond to them together through synchronized efforts. At the same time, the aftermath of October 7th proved something critical. Israeli NGOs, the core of civil society, are remarkable. And this brings me to the second point. In the interest of a strong Israel, we cannot abandon the organizations that make up the critical mass on the ground in favor of passing trends, no matter how important they may be, because they are what sustain Israeli civil society day in and day out. Take Arab society as an example. Over the past years, so much important work has been done to strengthen our social fabric and nurture better relations between Israel's Arabs and Jews. In the wake of October 7th, there was naturally concern about the reaction of Arab society in such tense and uncertain times. Here is where all the work paid off. There were enough stakeholders invested in the growth of Arab society, in employment, in education, in shared society, to keep those investments strong. The bonds held. Even in the face of a great deal of turbulence, years of investment bore fruit. So friends, in these times, we must ensure that the powerful infrastructure of Israeli civil society organizations is preserved. We have to put ourselves behind what works and behind those who do the work in good times and bad, and continue strengthening and supporting the vital infrastructure which keeps civil society functioning and thriving. In the panel that follows, we are going to hear from some funders about how they are finding their path to making a difference. The truth is that every one of us can make a difference. Every one of us does make a difference. And working in collaboration, the difference can be even greater. Big or small, broad or specific, your open hearts are what matter. And I know they beat strongly here today and will continue to beat on, nurturing us all in a spirit of care, growth, and healing. Thank you very much. Toda rabah.